Hello and welcome to Angie B Crafts. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. So today this is a I'm super excited video, and as I've started this and started messing, I've realised I'm going to have to unpackage all these, but just let me say I have had the best delivery today. These are all Zuri Moulds. Now I own two Zuri Moulds. I've only ever used one of them, but these were all on offer, and what can I say, I'm a sucker. So I have got three fabulous books. I'm going to take these out and I might even have a play with some of them, but you can see wonderful. There's that one is the steampunk beetle, so that one's got little bits of steampunky cogs and the lights going on inside of it. We have steampunk beetle 2, so I don't know if you can see on that picture all the little cogs going on in there. And then we have steampunk bug. So pretty good. The steampunk, what can I say? Steampunk is fabulous. This is a door knocker. Now it's actually a functional door knocker, so I need to figure this out. But you can see what's up here. This is what it looks like. But it's incredibly intricate, and you can just use so many different bits for other things. These bottles, I've been looking at these perfume bottles for ages, and then they run off. I was like, well, it'd be rude not to. Really? It'd be rude not to. This butterfly. Butterflies are fabulous. What I like about this is the fact that it's two separate wings. So you can use it as a butterfly. I can use it just as one wing of a butterfly, as if the butterfly is resting, or it's just partially on your image. And it's really helpful to have that, and then you can choose what you put in the middle. I did see a show where the perfume bottles were used as the body of the butterfly, which was ingenious. And this is why I looked at the show in the first place. This is what I was going to buy. This was the intended purchase. It's telephones. They are gorgeous. They are absolutely gorgeous. So what I'm going to do is unpackage these and then maybe have a play with a couple of them. So I shall be back. Right, so here's a pile of moulds, and what you'll notice is they're different thicknesses. I put them all up on their end like this. You will see the difference in thickness, and this one's just super thick. So the reason for that is because of the complexity of what is within them. Because if you have something that's highly complex, then you need it to be thicker so that when you demould, it isn't going to snap, it isn't going to break and bend and warp. But you also need to have the thinness of the mould to be able to, if I try and bend this middle bit, it's not moving much. If I try and bend this bit where it's got the thinner parts, it moves. So you need different depths to allow you to demould your piece. So the ones that have got less complexity to them, so fewer different levels, are thinner. So there's a huge difference between them, but they're very carefully worked out. Zuri are quite clever at doing that and working out exactly what it is. Now some of these have got, like, I don't know if it shows up, you can just about see it there, it's got like a greyness. Not all of them have it, but some of them have, and that is part of the manufacturing process, because these have literally just been taken out of the packaging. Ideally what you would do is give them a wash, but because I'm just a little bit excited, I'm not going to. But yeah, you need to wash them before you use them. So this could go horribly wrong. So I've got some Hearty soft clay. Now this clay I'm not overly used to. I've used it a couple of times. I watched Catherine Sturrock on the craft store using it and think, I want to be that good. She's amazing. So obviously I've just gotten this out of the packet. When you get this out of the packet, it's quite sticky. So you need to work it. You need to actually get it to the right consistency, and you don't want it to be sticky, because if it's sticky, if I just show you, if I put this in a mould while it's sticky and then try and get it out, oh, it came out beautifully, it can stick to the mould. So you want to be really careful of that. With this clay, as I've discovered, you need to actually demould it pretty much straight away. If you leave it, it's going to stick. It's got moisture in it. You can feel the moisture on your hands while you're softening it and priming it, you can feel the moisture wick out. The other thing is that the moisture is going to stick it to your mould, because with this you can stick it to itself. It's going to be sticky. You don't want to do that. So the best way to avoid it is to put some form of agent onto the mould to stop it from sticking. So I think the best thing from what I can gather is corn flour, but I don't own corn flour. I have some Johnson's baby powder that I've had for rather a long time, probably since my son was a baby, and he's now 22, so it's an old bottle, but it still smells delicious, as Johnson's baby powder does, and it does the job. So I'm just putting that in. You're going to get a dull finish on this. I'm going to sneeze because of the baby powder going everywhere. Oh, be warned, you may sneeze. So I'm going to start off, and I'm just going to try this little bit at the top. This clay is not really primed enough, so it is quite sticky. It needs to be a little bit more firm, but let's just see how we get on. So I'm going to pop it in the mould. Remember, I'm new to using moulds, so this isn't an expert opinion. This is me learning, and I'm just doing it with you guys. So I'm going to then run over the top. So you can see as I've pulled it over, I've actually managed to pull it out of the mould, which we don't want. So we'll try again. Press it into the mould. And I know that if you go around the edges, you are going to get it neatened up at the edges. If you leave it overhanging the edges, it's going to mean that you have to cut it. Because I haven't primed this enough, I know that if I roll a rolling pin over it, it's just going to lift it straight out, which is why I'm not doing that. I'm just doing this initial bit. So it's in, and it releases, and it's still a bit wet, but it's coming out reasonably well. I've told you the thing isn't ready. Oh wow, I can't believe that came out so easily. Now, as I say, I haven't cleaned these, so I have got here some little bits. Again, that's part of the manufacturing process, so that is entirely because of me. That is not a flaw on the mould at all. It's because I didn't bother cleaning it up properly because I got a bit overexcited. You can see there's little bits firing out. Right, I'm going to try the whole thing this time. So what you can do, I've used that, I've shown it works, I can squish it up and use it again. So don't be afraid if something doesn't quite go according to plan, that you can just squish it. Squish it good. Squish it real good. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. They're going to be sneezing all afternoon now. Sneezing. Right, I'm going to turn it sideways on again because I prefer to work across the ways rather than down the ways. So start putting it in here. Now I know one of the things that Catherine Sturrock does is that she will roll it to fit into gaps. So that's something that I might do in the future, but just for now, you know, as a first attempt, let's see what we end up with. We're overfilling, so I'm going to gently push it down to further down. And you don't have to do it all in one piece because it sticks to itself neatly. So as it sticks to itself, you can see there's excess. You can bring it away by rubbing over it. But yeah, what I was saying is as you stick it to itself, it just forms a bond. So it's not going to break at that point. It just forms a bond. Right. So I'm adding a little bit more in there. If you want to, you can add in your resin, which I will be doing in the future. Not resin, I'm going to be doing resin, but resin wasn't the word I was looking for. I was looking for mica powders. So you can add mica powders into the mould just to give it a little bit of colour if you're wanting to, or you can actually colour it up afterwards. Now this Hearty clay, it's really strange stuff. I call it a paper clay, I'm not sure that it is. I find it very strange to work with because it's so light. It's fab but weird. Now I did get it with a set of different colours, so you can mix your own colours. So if you do want to colour things, you actually, with the set that I got, you get a little ball maker to make your different colours, and it tells you what proportion of each colour to put in and then mix together to make different colours. Right, I'm going to add a little bit more on top because we're a little bit missing up here. We don't want to overfill, and a little bit missing across this edge. So as I was saying in error, you can use resins in these, of course. The resin, they're really good. I've left the instructions sheet here just to tell you how you can use it. So it says it can go up to 464 degrees Fahrenheit, which I believe is about 230. It may be more, but I think it's about 230 in centigrade. So it can go really hot. You're not going to want it any hotter than that. It can go, this is the moulds, not the clay. It can go in the microwave, it can go in a fridge, it can go in the freezer, so you can use it for food stuff. I don't, I use it for crafty stuff. I'm not a foodist from the perspective of making things. I'm sure if I got into it I'd like it. So this has now decided it's going to stick. See, this is a frustration of not having prepped it. So this is what you don't do basically. The reason that it's stuck is I haven't prepped the clay enough, so it's too sticky. So it worked in the top bit because it was a small area and it wasn't in for long, but it's just too sticky. You can see it's just sticking to the mould. So this is a what not to do video, it appears, but never mind, it doesn't matter because my learning is your learning. So what I'm going to do is go away, get the clay prepped a bit more, and then come back and show you it with the clay prepped, and see how we get on with that. I think that will make a massive difference because at the minute it's just sticking to the mould because it's too wet. So that's what not to do, and I will see you again shortly with what you should do. Right, I have had a play. I have been messing around with my clay since I turned the video off, and my clay now feels drier. It's not as sticky, but I have also had a dry run or two because I didn't want to come on here and it all go horribly wrong again. And just to prove it, I have here a bottle that I have successfully taken out of this mould. So I'm going to do exactly the same as I did with this one and hope that there's enough. And I've also discovered the little black things that I said were probably to do with the process of manufacture are actually hairs off my brush. So if you don't want hairs in, you can see them on here. There's quite a few little black lines. They're hairs off my brush. So yeah, just use a decent brush. Just going to add a little bit more talc, make sure, and then do a quick scan for hairs, although apparently I can't see them until they're in the thing. Right, and again I'm going to do it sideways. I don't know that I've actually got enough clay now because I've made that other one, so I might have to dismantle that other one. We shall see. Let's keep everything crossed. So I've done what Catherine does this time. I've actually rolled the sausage and then I'm gradually pushing it in. I don't think this is the reason that it didn't come out before. I think the clay was just too wet, but this is actually quite a nice way to work. I quite liked it when I tried it, so I thought I'd do it on here. We might have just enough clay. Don't know what song that was, but it's better than my doody doos. Let's try. Right, got that to one side, and use what we now have in the mould. So you can see it does overhang the edge. So what I'm going to do is just rub across it, and that just takes a layer off, and it means that you can fold it in, because you don't want it, if it's overhanging the edge, it means it's going to be sticking up and wonky and not very nice. I'm not overly worried about the back of it because the project that I'm wanting to use this on has got some different fabrics and things on it, so it's going to be absolutely fine if it's a slightly wonky back on it. But if you do want it a smooth back, put in enough clay to then use the rolling pin over, and what that will do is just bring it out to the edges and you can get rid of the little excess. So I'm going to go around and just very carefully make sure none of the edges are overlapping, which I don't think they are. I think I've done quite well. Why am I singing Christmas songs? It's January, Angela. Christmas is gone. Oh dear. Right, the moment of truth. Fingers crossed. Cross everything. Oh, you can see the difference, can't you? The difference of that coming out. And I'm just going to fold the other side and see if we can get it out. Right, there we go. Allegedly they just flop out. I'm not at that point yet, but we've got the bottom out. We'll get the top out. We can just gently edge it out. I'm sorry you won't be able to see it actually fall out, but I need to try and get this neck's a little bit delicate and apparently a little bit sticky. There we go. Aha! Yay! Woo woo! We did it! So now I have two lovely bottles. They are fab. I've purposely done the same one so you can see the direct comparison. They are just the same mould, and I literally did this one just before I started recording again. With this one, what I've noticed is I've got some little bits here that are sticking out, but what I do like about the paper clay, two things. One is I can now mould this, stick it onto something and mould it round. If I wanted it on a wonk around a bottle, I could do that, which would look really nice. So something like that. I think that'd look lovely. So you can actually stick it, but the clay stays cuttable. So I've got some little bits that I've made with the clay in the past, and these have been made for a few weeks, but they're still malleable, and they are still, if I get a pair of scissors, totally cuttable. So unlike other clay, it's not going to break if you cut it. So these have just been coloured with different materials, which I'll be going into at some point on a video. But yeah, I'm liking it. Now I'm sussing it and I know what this is meant to feel like. It's just starting, I don't know if you can see, but it's just starting when you stretch it to start cracking, and that means it's not going to stick. So if I just want to do the ball of the atomizer, let's just make sure, oops, there's enough talc in there. We'll steal some out of this one. This one's only got some in because it was flipped in from the other one, and then I've just added it in. There we go. Right, let's try this. We'll roll it into a bit of a ball and then we'll just press, and let's see, because I think this would be a really cool thing to have. Even if you took it down a little bit, it could be almost like a chemist bottle. Oh, let's take a bit in there now. See if it's a bit like a conical flask kind of thing going on. Obviously that neck bit's not going to be terribly accurate because I've not put enough clay in there, but it's just to demonstrate what you can do. So it's gone in. Oh, look at the detail on that. So yeah, it was entirely my error. So please, if you find that it's not coming out, it's because your clay's too wet. Because, oh my word, this is amazing. Guess what I'm going to be doing for the rest of today? I think it's going to involve Zuri moulds and clay and making things. Hey, I'm so excited. I'll be honest with you now. The mould that I have used, I used the same clay, not this particular piece, but I used the Hearty clay, and I was so upset because it all went horribly wrong and I got really cross about it, and that's why I've not done a mould thing before. But I thought I'd give it a go on camera, and I can honestly say it's fabulous. I love it. And these bottles, I mean, if you just want a bottle shape, you can just chop that off and it suddenly becomes a vase, doesn't it? If you imagine there's a vase, or if you chopped it off at that end, that could be the top of the vase, and then you could put flowers coming out of it, and oh, it's wonderful. Oh, I'm so happy. So you'll probably be seeing lots of videos popping up of me with making moulds, because it's fab. I'm a happy crafter. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch me, and for your patience in seeing me finally succeed with Hearty clay. Bye for now.